Good afternoon and welcome to today's edition of Pointing to the Cross. And I want to read to you from Romans chapter 12 today. Romans chapter 12, beginning in verse 3, Paul wrote these words. He said, "For I say, through the grace given to me, to everyone who is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly as God has dealt to each of us a measure of faith." Well, if you're a believer, He has given you faith. And that measure of faith that he's talking about, well, he goes on in verse 4 and he says, "For as we have many members in one body, but all the members do not have the same function. So we being many are one body in Christ, and individually members of one another. Having then gifts, differing according to the grace that is given to us, let us use them. If prophecy, let us prophesy in proportion to our faith. Or ministry, let us use it in our ministering. He who teaches in teaching, he who exhorts in exhortation, he who gives with liberality, he who leads with diligence, he who shows mercy with cheerfulness." You know, what would happen if you went out and took the alternator out of your car? Well, it might start up for a little while and go for maybe a mile or two, but eventually it's just going to suck all the juice out of that battery. And let me tell you something. Right now, sometimes the church is operating off of a battery, and it don't go very long until all the juice is zapped out of it. And my point is this: God has given each of us a measure of faith, a gift of grace. And how are we using our gifts? You know, if you've got a football team and you've got the greatest running back in the world, but you don't have an offensive line to block for them, that running back isn't going to have any success. And maybe one of the problems in our church today is the fact that we've got too many people who God has given a gift to, and they're not using them for His glory. You know, if God's given you a voice to sing, sing at church, sing a special, sing in the choir. If God's given you a gift to teach a Sunday school class, whatever that situation is. But if all we ever do is take our gifts and never use them, then God doesn't get glory and His church never grows. So I encourage you today, if God's given you a gift, exercise that gift, because the reason He gave it to us was to bring glory to Him and to further the kingdom. And may that be our prayer today. God, may you bring your kingdom. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Lord, bring the kingdom to earth today through me and the gifts that you've given me. Help me to discharge my gift so that I can help others. We'll see you next time on Pointing to the Cross.